Hello, this is Megan from Dun Dun Fitness. I'm one of the coaches here, and I wanted to take just a couple minutes of your time and talk about stress. Stress has been coming up a lot over the last, couple of weeks in the gym, and especially in our coaching check-ins. Some people are recognizing the stress and they're rating their stress very high on their check-in. Some people, though, they're rating their stress, maybe like a 3 out of 5 or a 2 out of 5. But then I'm seeing in what they're writing to me that they probably are a little bit more stressed than that, right? So I wanted to just take a couple minutes to just talk about what stress is, what it looks like, what it can feel like, and then what we can do about it and how we can navigate these next couple of weeks as we get to the new year. So stress in the traditional sense, it refers to that psychological stress, right? Things like my boss is driving me crazy. I have to get this project done. Tight deadlines, feeling like you're running out of time. Maybe, your gifts aren't wrapped yet, or your kids changed their mind about what they wanted last minute. Things like that we can recognize as stress, right? Maybe we feel it. Maybe it feels like chaos in our brain. Maybe we can feel it in our, tense shoulders. We carry stress sometimes in our lower back. We can feel those physical signs of stress from this psychological stress that we traditionally recognize as stress, right? These are obvious. We know that this is stressful. But there are other things that contribute to stress on our body that aren't always as obvious. So things like sleep disturbances, not getting as much sleep as you normally get, or not getting that quality sleep that you're used to getting. Inflammation, so things like eating or drinking more things that you don't normally have all the time, fighting off colds and flu. I don't know about you, but for me, pretty much everyone I know right now is either sick or trying to fight something off. Things like overworking. So again, back to those end of year deadlines, getting things in. And then these two kind of go hand in hand, and it's a very tricky balance, but over exercising. So if you are someone who is feeling the effects of stress, but you are pushing yourself and making sure that you get into the gym every single day, even though that might not be the best thing for you, that would be over exercising. And then we have people on the other side of the other side of the coin, who basically throw in the towel, give into the chaos, and they don't exercise at all. And that also contributes to inflammation, right? So we really need to find that balance there of making sure that we're giving our body what it needs and moving enough, but not too much. And then lastly, we have nutritional imbalances. So straight up nutritional deficiencies. Again, this stems back to not having as much of our regular diet as we usually do, and blood sugar imbalances. So again, this time of year, a lot of what we're eating can be very carb dense, very sugar dense, and really not as much with the protein and the healthy fats, right? So we're really missing out on these nutritional gifts to our body, so to speak. So even though you might not feel stressed because you don't have these psychological stressors that you might be used to or that you see other people dealing with, your body might be feeling the effects of stress, but it might not be as familiar to you to recognize as stress. So if you're feeling more tired than normal, if you're feeling like you're mindlessly eating or maybe emotionally eating more than you normally do. Maybe you're feeling a little bit moody or sluggish or extra achy after your workouts. That's a big one. That really is a huge sign that you have some inflammation going on if you're extra sore after your workouts. And then lastly, obviously, weight gain. So if you're seeing your weight go up and down a little bit more than normal, or maybe it's just going up and it's staying there, right? That can be a sign of stress. So what do most people do about that this time of year? Most people just hang on for dear life and just say, I'll take care of it in the new year. I'll reset in January. I'm going to enjoy this time, right? But that kind of, again, all or nothing mentality, that I'll reset in January mentality, really leads to, additional chronic stress and a stress buildup in your body that you have a bigger problem to deal with in January. And so what I would recommend for you, and what I would much prefer you do, is to kind of pick and choose your battles and see where you can reduce stress or give back to your body so that your body doesn't feel so stressed all the time, right? So it takes a little bit of being intentional and being thoughtful and really planning ahead. But I have 4 tips for you that I really want you to consider. You don't have to do all of them, right? But even just taking one of them that sounds good for you, and incorporating it can really make a really big difference, even though it seems like it might not, right? So stay with me here. First and foremost, obviously, I want you to focus on the basics. So focusing on your staying to your traditional diet as much as possible, when it's within your control, right? So I'm talking about like your breakfast and your lunch when you don't have those luncheons with your coworkers or whatever, and those dinners that you are still having at home throughout the week. Make sure those are as close to your normal as possible. Obviously, making sure that you're getting plenty of water, being hydrated, sleep, and exercise, right? So really being consistent and intentional with those 4 things is going to really make a big difference. Really, the bottom line here is I want you to be giving your body what it needs as much as possible, okay? Next, I want you to have a plan, right? We have all of these events happening. We have, gatherings with coworkers, extra time with family, the holiday itself, right? So go into the week with a plan. Like make these decisions ahead of time so that you don't have to make them on the fly. You don't get decision fatigue, and you don't really, you don't find yourself in that trap of like getting into peer pressure or eating or drinking something that you really don't enjoy just because it's there, right? So be intentional, make these decisions ahead of time. Like, which event are you going to leave early so that you can prioritize bedtime? Which event is going to be the one that you go all in and you drink more alcohol and you hang out all night? Which event is going to be the one that maybe you have, just one dessert, or like you skip dessert that one, or which event is going to be the one that you have all the cookies at, right? Like make those decisions ahead of time and plan your week intentionally. Next, this one sounds silly, I'll be honest, but I really want you to focus on joy, right? This is the time of year we're supposed to be spending time with people that we love. We're supposed to be enjoying time with family and friends, maybe even, traditions with our kids or with our parents or our siblings, whatever it is, but it can be stressful, even though it's supposed to be this like time of, joy and connection, right? So I want you to really be intentional about slowing down and seeking out these moments of joy and just making sure that you're being present for them and fully enjoying the experience and not being distracted by all of the stuff that you still have to do, or the things that are on your plate that you wish weren't there, or whatever it is that's distracting you from being present in the moment with these events, right? Really find the space to be connected and enjoy the time that it's meant to be enjoyed. And then lastly, this one is the hardest of them all, if you ask me, and for people who are like me that tend to have more people-pleasing tendencies. But create boundaries. Like say no to the things that you don't want to be doing or that you don't want to be going to. It's okay to say no. It's also okay to remove yourself from toxic conversations or toxic people. You don't have to entertain someone's, criticisms, things like that. This is the time of year we're spending a lot of time with people that can be critical, judgmental, those types of things. You don't have to deal with that. You just don't. So feel free to go ahead and shut that down or just remove yourself from the conversation entirely. And then on that same vein, have difficult conversations with people. So if there is someone in your life who is routinely, again, criticizing, judging, whatever, you can say to that person, like, I'm not entertaining these conversations, or, there's other ways to say it, but you catch my drift, right? Like, you can say to that person, like, we're not going to do this here, or we're not going to do this right now, or whatever it is. You do have the power and the permission to do those things. I know it sounds like, you don't know my mom or my grandpa or my cousin or whoever the difficult person is. But maybe some people need to hear that. So I wanted to make sure that I included it. But the reality is that when we are stressed and we get into these seasons where we're like, go, 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 and time is limited, we fall back to our comfort, right? And that's why it's so important to have really good concrete habits that you incorporate every single day, not just on good days or on your best days, right? Because when shit hits the fan, because we know it will, because life is like that, we revert back to our habits, right? So if our habits are contributing to things like, you know, overeating, not exercising, things like that, then that's where we'll go in times of stress, right? So we want for you to create these sustainable habits that maybe aren't, maybe they're not as sexy, maybe you feel like they're not making a huge difference, but stacked up over time, they really do make a big difference, especially when you're still able to lean on those habits during these seasons of our life, right? So because of that, we do have another real workshop coming up for you, not just a little talk like this, but an actual workshop. It's going to be the Habit Reset Workshop. So be on the lookout for that. That will be offered in early January. And I really think that it will be helpful in continuing on this path for you, right? So beyond these next 2 weeks, but really for the next year and, over your life, to live a happy, long, healthy life. That's what we want for you. That's why we work together. So with all that being said, I hope that you have an amazing holiday and a very happy and healthy new year, and we will see you soon.